Hey, English learners. Welcome back to Learn English with Podcast. I'm Nikki, your friendly host.
And I'm Tony. Ready to dive into today's topic? We're talking about worst jobs.
Those gigs that make you go. I'm glad I'm not doing that anymore. So, Tony, what's your take on worst jobs?
Well, Nikki, let me tell you about this one time. I worked as a janitor at a water park. Cleaning up after all those sunburned, soggy guests was no walk in the park, I'll tell you that.
I can only imagine the mess. But hey, at least you got a good workout, right?
You bet. How about you, Nikki? Any memorable stints in the world of odd jobs?
Oh, definitely. I once had a gig as a mascot for a pizza joint. Sweating it out in that costume under the scorching sun was not my idea of fun.
Haha, I can picture it now. All right, enough about us. Let's hear from our guest, Jason. Jason, welcome to the show. Could you introduce yourself to our listeners?
Hi, Nikki and Tony. Thanks for inviting me. I'm Jason, and I've got a tale or two to share about my brush with some truly awful jobs.
We can't wait to hear it, Jason. What's the worst job you've ever had?
Well, let me tell you about the summer I spent working on a garbage truck. Waking. Up at the crack of dawn to haul smelly trash bags in the sweltering heat. It was rough, to say the least.
Yikes, that sounds like a tough gig, Jason. How did you manage to keep going?
Honestly, it was the camaraderie with my coworkers that got me through it. We'd joke around and make the best of a stinky situation.
That's the spirit, Jason. Sometimes it's the people you work with that make all the difference. Did you learn anything valuable from that experience?
Definitely. It taught me the importance of hard work and perseverance. Even when the job stinks, literally.
Well said, Jason. Thanks for sharing your story with us. And listeners, stay tuned because we've got more stories to share.
Our next guest is gearing up to spill the beans on their most dreaded job experience. Let's give a warm welcome to Sarah. Hey there, Sarah. Can you tell our listeners a bit about yourself?
Hi, Nikki and Tony. I'm Sarah, and I've got a doozy of a story to share about my worst job.
We can't wait to hear it. Sarah, lay it on us.
All right. So, picture this. I once worked as a chicken plucker at a poultry farm. Spending all day elbow deep in feathers and guts. It was not exactly my idea of a good time.
Oh wow, Sarah, that sounds like quite the, unique experience. How did you cope with such a hands-on job?
Well, Tony. Let's just say I had to develop a strong stomach and a good sense of humor to get through the day. Plus, blasting some upbeat tunes in the background helped lighten the mood.
Music to pluck chickens by? Did you take away any lessons from that feathered fiasco?
Absolutely, Nikki. It taught me to appreciate the simpler things in life and never take clean hands for granted.
Wise words, Sarah. Thanks for sharing your clucky tale with us. And to our listeners, stick around because we've got more fascinating stories coming up.
We're gearing up for another fascinating story on Learn English with Podcast. Our next guest is about to regale us with a tale from the trenches of the workforce. Let's give a warm welcome to Emily. Hey, Emily, can you introduce yourself to our listeners?
Hi, Nikki and Tony. Thanks for the invitation. I'm Emily, and I've got a story that'll make you think twice about picking up the phone.
Oh boy, Emily, now you've piqued our interest. Lay it on us.
All right. So, picture this. I once worked at a call center where people who called were as brave as knights facing dragons. The hours were long, the pay was abysmal, and let's just say dealing with irate customers all day was not my idea of a good time.
Woo, Emily. That sounds like a real test of patience. How did you manage to stay sane during those grueling hours?
Well, Nikki, it wasn't easy, that's for sure. But I found solace in the camaraderie with my fellow coworkers, who were all in the same boat. We'd share stories and jokes to keep each other going through the long shifts.
I can imagine that camaraderie made all the difference. Did you take away any valuable lessons from your time in the call center?
Absolutely, Tony. It taught me the importance of resilience and empathy, even in the face of frustration. And hey, it also taught me some pretty killer phone skills.
Oh, well, Emily, your story certainly paints a vivid picture of the challenges you faced. Thanks for sharing your experience with us. And to our listeners, stay tuned because we've got more tales of trials and triumphs coming your way. We're back with more tales of triumph over terrible jobs on Learn English with podcast. I'm Nikki along with my buddy Tony, and we're about to hear from our next brave soul. Let's give a warm welcome to Sergio. Hey Sergio, can you tell us a bit about yourself?
Hi Nikki and Tony. Thanks for having me on the show. I'm Sergio, and I've got a story that'll make your toes curl.
Oh boy, we're all ears. Sergio, lay it on us.
All right. So, picture this. I once worked as a porta-potty cleaner at a music festival, dealing with, well, let's just say less than pleasant surprises in those tiny, smelly stalls. Was a job I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy.
Woo, Sergio. That sounds like a real, challenge. How did you manage to soldier through such a, crappy job?
Well, Nikki, it wasn't easy, that's for sure. But I found solace in knowing that. I was helping to keep the festival grounds clean and safe for everyone to enjoy. Plus, wearing a gas mask helped block out some of the less pleasant odors.
Ooh, that's one way to make the best of a stinky situation, Sergio. Did you learn anything valuable from your time in the trenches, so to speak?
Absolutely, Tony. It taught me the importance of resilience and finding humor in even the most unpleasant tasks. And hey, it makes for a great story to tell at parties.
Oh, you've got that right, Sergio. Thanks for sharing your aromatic adventure with us. And to our listeners, don't go anywhere because we've got more tales of trials and triumphs coming your way.
We're cruising through Learn English with podcast, and we've got another brave soul ready to share their worst job story. We're excited to introduce our next guest, Amy. Hey, Amy, can you tell us a bit about yourself?
Hi everyone, I'm Amy, and I've got a tale that'll make you think twice about complaining about your job.
Oh, Amy, now you've got us intrigued. Lay it on us.
All right, buckle up because this one's a doozy. I once worked as a sewer inspector. Crawling through dark, cramped tunnels filled with who knows what wasn't exactly my idea of a dream job.
Oh, wow, Amy. That sounds like a real adventure. How did you muster up the courage to tackle such a challenging job?
Well, Tony, let's just say it took a lot of deep breaths and a strong stomach. But knowing that I was helping to maintain vital infrastructure for the community kept me going. Even when things got, well, messy.
Admirable, Amy. Did you take away any valuable lessons from your time in the sewers?
Absolutely, Nikki. It taught me to never judge a job by its smell and to always look for the silver lining, even in the darkest of places.
Wise words, Amy. Thanks for sharing your nose-wrinkling experience with us.
Now, dear listeners, let's take a moment to reflect on the incredible stories we've heard today.
Absolutely, Nikki. From chicken plucking to sewer inspecting, our guests have shared some truly unforgettable experiences. It's amazing to see how they've turned tough situations into opportunities for growth and learning.
That's right, Tony. Despite facing some seriously challenging jobs, our guests found ways to stay positive. Whether it was through humor, camaraderie, or a sense of purpose, it just goes to show that resilience and a can-do attitude can get you through even the toughest of times.
And let's not forget the valuable lessons we can all take away from these stories. Whether it's finding humor in difficult situations, appreciating the simple joys in life, or never underestimating the power of teamwork, there's something to be learned from every experience.
Absolutely, Tony. And to our listeners out there, we hope these stories have inspired you to tackle whatever challenges come your way with a positive mindset and a sense of humor.
That's right, Nikki. And hey, you ever find yourself knee-deep in feathers, sewage, or any other less-than-ideal situation? Just remember, You're not alone, and there's always a light at the end of the tunnel.
Hang tight, folks. Let's take a moment to review 7 key words that we've encountered throughout today's episode. These words are not only important for understanding the stories our guests shared, but they're also useful in everyday English conversations.
That's right, Nikki. So, let's dive in. The first word on our list is ordeal. An ordeal is a challenging or difficult experience. For example, when Jason talked about his summer working on a garbage truck, he described it as quite an ordeal.
Absolutely, Tony. Our next word is dreadful. Dreadful describes something extremely unpleasant or causing great fear. Sarah's experience as a janitor at the water park sounded truly dreadful.
That's right, Nikki. And next up, we have camaraderie. Camaraderie refers to a spirit of friendship and mutual support among people who are in the same situation. Sergio mentioned how the camaraderie with his co-workers helped him get through his job as a porta-potty cleaner.
Indeed, Tony. Now, let's talk about resilience. Resilience is the ability to bounce back from difficult situations. Amy demonstrated incredible resilience during her time as a sewer inspector.
Absolutely, Nikki. Our fifth word is solace. Solace is a source of comfort or consolation during times of distress. Sarah found solace in blasting upbeat tunes while plucking chickens.
That's right, Tony. Now, let's discuss doozy. A doozy refers to something extraordinary or outstanding, often in a challenging way. Amy's story about working as a sewer inspector was a real doozy.
And finally, our last word is janitor. A janitor is a person who is responsible for cleaning and maintaining a building. Tony's experience as a janitor at the water park was definitely unforgettable.
Fantastic examples, Tony. And there you have it, folks, 7 key words to add to your English vocabulary arsenal. Remember, the more you practice using these words, the more natural they'll become in your everyday conversations.
Absolutely, Nikki. And with that, we'll officially wrap up today's episode. But don't worry, folks, we'll be back soon with more fun and insightful episodes to help you on your English learning journey.
And with that, it's time to say goodbye for now. We hope you've enjoyed today's episode of Learn English with Podcast, as much as we've enjoyed bringing it to you.
Absolutely, Nikki. And remember, if you want to keep up with all the latest episodes and continue improving your English skills, be sure to subscribe to our channel.
That's right. And don't forget to give us a like if you found this episode helpful. And share it with your friends who are also on their English learning journey.
And if you have any questions, comments, or even your own stories to share, we'd love to hear from you. Drop us a message.
Until next time, keep practicing, keep exploring, and keep pushing yourself to new heights in your English learning journey.
That's right, Nikki. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Take care, and we'll catch you in the next episode.